3 practical decision-making tools. So we've given you 5 questions, and I would really recommend you go through those questions. I've done that when I have big decisions like a move or a career change or relationship things or volunteer opportunity or something that the church has asked me to do, or even speaking things like, is this the best thing I should do? Just kind of think through those, and that's a helpful rubric. You can do it just in your head or prayerfully before the Lord, but you can also open up your journal and write through those things. That for me, for whatever reason, I write myself clear. When I'm writing, I'm thinking a lot more clearly, and so I like to have little prompts like that I save and I use in my journal. So if you're watching this, screenshot those or jot them down and put those somewhere for the next time you have a big decision, and I think it'll help you. But let me give you even one step more practical, and that's these 3 tools. And the first one is to pre-decide. We're faced with 34,000 decisions a day or whatever they say. I want to, as much as possible, eliminate some of those before they even come to me. I've heard people say, make the decision that makes 1,000 decisions. I've also heard this called categorical decision making or personal policies. These are all just different ways of saying, can I make a decision that makes it easy for me to say yes or no to things just as a matter of policy going forward, right? So people do this. I'm trying to think of an example. End of life care, for example. Someone is getting older and they say, okay, I'm going to write down all the decisions in advance so that whoever's going to see to my end of life details, they're going to know, you want to be buried or cremated? How do you want your funeral to go? Like some of those decisions and stuff, or, DNR type stuff. You make those decisions in advance. I'm saying apply that same logic, slightly less morbidly, to other areas of your life, making some policies. If you're watching this, I'll put up something on the screen. It's just an example. Like if you have no personal policies for yourself, you have no sort of categories that are automatic no's for you, that means you're faced with more decisions that are complicated per day. So everything's a maybe. If you have no personal policies about what you're going to say yes or no to, everything's a maybe, which means you need to make way more decisions, which is exhausting. But if you have personal policies, then some things are already automatic no's. Some are automatic yeses, and there's only a few maybes that you need to be more careful about. What do I mean by this? So a personal policy or categorical decision would just be something like, I'm not going to look at my phone before I read the Bible in the morning. You basically take the decision off the table. When you have this policy, you say, I'm going to make sure I read the word before I open my phone. That's a great policy. And you're not being legalistic. You're not saying everyone has to do this, but you're saying for me, that's why it's a personal policy. I'm just not going to do that. And so when you wake up in the morning, it's just not the option. You're like, oh no, I already pre-decided this one. I'm going to go to the word first. Some people do this with eating. They say no eating after 7 p.m., right? I'm doing a program right now. Part of it involves intermittent fasting. That's one of the rules I have to follow. No eating after 7 p.m. So I can't sit there in bed and say, am I hungry? Am I not hungry? Should I have that muffin? What did I eat? How many calories did I eat today? No, the decision's pre-made. It's just simplified. And so I don't have to make the choice. I just say, no, that's a rule I have. A positive one, never resist the impulse to pray. I think Spurgeon said this. If you feel like, I should pray about that, don't say, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Just stop and pray. Another one I found really helpful is not saying yes to commitments right away. Often someone will ask you, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? In a one-on-one setting, like in person. And I've pre-decided, if someone asks me that, I say, let me think about that and pray about that, and I'm going to get back to you. Even if I already know it's an automatic yes, even if I already know it's something I want to do, I put it off because I want to make sure I'm making it without the pressure of the fear of man or wanting to people please, in the moment, and then I regret it later or have to unwind it or end up disappointing the person. I'd rather just say, let me call you tomorrow. So those are a couple options. So pre-decide. As much as you can do this, it's really helpful. It's really, really helpful. And you can do this in a lot of areas of life. Even me with work stuff, I do speaking engagements, and I have made some new rules for which ones I'll say yes to and which ones I'll say no to, because I need to simplify that. I don't want every time someone asks me, I can't say yes to all of them, but I also don't want it to be that, how many can I possibly do? No, I want to have some criteria about what I'm trying to do, and it helps make the decision before it even comes about. Another tool you can use is weighing the options. We're talking here about a pros cons list. Now, I will tell you, I got in a lot of trouble with this when I first started getting to know my wife before we were married. Well, hopefully I started getting to know her before we got married. But yes, and and I was considering should we date or whatever. I was in a spot where I had decided that I was not going to pursue romantic relationships in that season of life. I was like, this is distraction right now. I want to focus. I had some ministry stuff I was doing. I was like, I'm just going to focus on this and not worry about that. I was getting too hung up on trying to find a spouse. And as God often does in those situations, that's when he brought me the perfect person. And so notoriously, I say this notoriously because she still picks on me about this, I made a pros cons list. And I said, should I date Kim or should I not date Kim? And foolishly, I kept that list, and foolishly, I let her see that list, and that was not helpful at all. Probably led to our first argument, which is good. Get that out of the way. But pros cons list. I know it's classic. I know it's kind of cheesy, but I still do this for big decisions. I did this for my big decision about whether or not I was going to take the position that had me leave Grace to You and come back to Michigan, but whether or not I was going to go full-time with Redeeming Productivity, even houses, trying to decide where to move. Like, I did pros cons list for all those. Why? I think because it just gets it out of your head for this nebulous thing. You're like bouncing around your head. Should I? Shouldn't I? And there's all these different stuff. Getting them out and onto paper and seeing them in one spot, something about that is clarifying. And so if you've never done this, it's really simple. You just draw a line down the middle of a piece of paper and you do pros on one side, cons on the other. I find it helpful is after you write them all out, like put a value system on them. I like 1 through 5. And you just say, how much is this worth to me? 1 to 5, 1 to 5. And then you can add them all up. And then you have, it doesn't mean it's a slam dunk, yes or no, but you can see in numbers at the end of that, oh, wow, I have like 110 points in favor of no and 5 points in favor of yes. How was this a hard decision? Like, obviously, you know what I mean? So that kind of thing, just bring some objectivity to it. That's a helpful thing. So weighing the options, pros, cons list. That's the second little tool you could use. Let me offer you a third and final one. Sleep on it. If you've got a big decision that is not urgent, like you don't have to do it today, sleeping on it, dude, it's so good. I'm not saying drag out decisions. I'm not saying procrastinate about making them, but do all the work to come to a decision and then don't make the decision until the next day. I actually literally just did this with this couch. I mean, I know this is stupid, but I got a couch for my office and I wasn't sure, do I want this or do I want the chair that I used to have? And it's a small thing, but to me, I wanted everything to be just right. And I had pros and cons in favor of both of them. So I did all the work yesterday to decide which thing. And when I went to bed yesterday, I said, I think I'm going to keep the couch, but I don't want to decide. And when I got up today, it was just clear as day. Obviously, we're keeping the couch. So there's something about that, doing the work, wrestling through which decision, and then kind of penciling it in, say, I think it's this one. But then the clarity of a new day, I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's your mind has time to process it overnight or what, but after you've done the work and then you sleep on it, you tend to be able to have a lot more clarity about what the right thing to do is. And it's almost obvious. That's what I've found a lot of times. You do the work, then you sleep on it, and it's almost obvious the next day. You're like, of course. But I think that's smart. Another thing you can do that's related to this, I guess a bonus one, is take a walk. Often that's what I do. I'm confronted with a decision. I need to make that choice today. Instead of just banging my head against the wall, I'm run out of paper to do pros, cons lists or whatever. I've done all the different thinking, talking to people, getting advice. I like to just go and take a walk and pray about it and think about it. And often that's really clarifying too.